Hello and welcome. This video covers how to customize comp sheets on the StartDeck platform. Okay, first of all, we highly recommend setting a checkpoint for the current version before you get started. This gives you an opportunity to roll back if something doesn't go as planned. To name the current version, go to version history, name current version, and give it any name you like. I use checkpoint. We'll save that. And that way you can back up to that version by going to version history, see version history, and then selecting the last checkpoint that you created. The second thing we recommend is populating your comp sheets with data so you can work with your data points in comp sheets with context. So the next thing we'll do here is customize the comp sheet for comp 1, and we will then make copies of comp 1, modify that, a copy of comp 2, modify that, and so on to get to our full set of comp sheets. To customize your comp write-ups, there's a couple of ways to do this. The easiest thing to do is to simply create your write-up in the format that you want and then drag the sheet fields to the appropriate location in the new write-up. So for example, if we have our new comp write-up below our default comp write-up and we wanted to move the fields, we simply select the field, come down to our new write-up location, and paste the field. Now, let's address the scenario where we want to add fields to our new comp write-up, but they are not in our default comp write-up. So for example, property name and property type. To do that, we go to Sheet Data and Maps. And because we're only working with comp 1 here, we want to sort our fields by comp 1. So this tells us that we have comp 1 fields in the sales analysis and the lease analysis in this particular workbook. So we'll go to sales analysis, and you can see here at the top of the list we have comp 1 property name, which is what we're looking for, and we want to place that right here in our document. We put our cursor at the location where we want to place the field and then click the field name, and that will insert the field at that location. One more time, we'll do it with the property type, and that will include, of course, our property type at that location. Let's look at another scenario, and that is where the field that we want to insert is not in our default write-up, nor is it available from our workbook fields. So for example, record ID, which is our database ID. So the first thing we'll do is look for that field. So we'll modify our search, and we'll look at what fields are available, and we can see we have record type, which is not what we're looking for, and we have recording reference, again, not what we're looking for. So let's look at how we can add that field to our comp write-up. First thing I'll do is go back to our worksheet and look at where these fields are sourced from. Several of our comp fields are located on the grid itself, but there are many more comp fields that we want to include that aren't on our grid. To address this need, we have a section that is underneath our grid called Comp Details, and this is the repository for all of the comp fields associated with a given comp that we want to include for our comp sheets. And these are organized by comp columns. So for comp 1, if we scroll down, you can see we've got all of these fields, and the S fields are labeled comp 1, record type, days on market, and so on for each of our database fields for our comp sheets. On the left-hand column, we have a list of database fields that are available. So we'll click on that drop-down list, and we're looking for record ID, which is right here. Now when we click this, when we select this item, it will populate each one of our comp columns with the record ID for that comp. And again, the record ID is our database ID, a unique identifier for each comparable. There are a couple more steps to follow before we can add this comp to our comp write-up. The first thing we need to do is to add an S field for the comparable. So as a reference, we'll look at the S field for unit features, and you can see it's comp1 underscore multifamily unit features. So we'll create a field similar to that, and we need to do this for each of our comparables. So there's comp 1, and we'll add it for comp 2, and we would repeat this process for all of our comparables. The next thing we need to do is to add these S fields to our S fields repository so that in the future the software will know automatically to pick up these new S fields. To do that, we go to Utilities and we click Refresh Sheet Fields. This is a one-time process. You won't need to do it again in the future. Now we'll go back to our document, and because we have a new S field, we want to refresh our sheet data to pick up that new field. Now we'll go to Sales Analysis, and you can see we now have our record ID field. And again, to insert that into our new comp write-up, we place the cursor where we want that field to go, and we click on the sheet field. And there's our database ID. So that's the process that we follow for creating a custom comp write-up. Remember, we're doing this for Comp 1 only. Once we have Comp 1 completed, we can then create Comp 2, Comp 3, and Comp 4. Let me show you that process. First thing I'll do is copy Comp 1, our new comp write-up. I'll insert that. Now, to understand the next step, let's take a look at the sheet field syntax. Copy the syntax here, paste it into our document so you can see it. And this tells you how that field is sourced. So in this case, it comes from the Sales Analysis worksheet, and the sheet field name is SComp1 property name. So keep that in mind as we go through the next steps. So to convert this from Comp 1 to Comp 2, I'll manually make a change at the top here. Then I select all of the content. Now I'm going to go to the StartDeck Writer sidebar, Utilities, Edit Fields, and then I'm going to search and replace field code. Now we want to change this from Comp 1 to Comp 2, and to do that, we'll search out Comp 1, and we will replace it with Comp 2. So to confirm that we've got everything modified correctly and that these data points are pointing from Comp 1 to Comp 2, we'll take a look at our sheet field code and come over, and you can see that it in fact is now referencing Comp 2. Now to populate this data, we simply go to Forms and Fields, Update Sheet Fields, and when we update this, it'll pull in data for Comp 2. You can see now the property name is pointing to Comp 2, as is the address and the record ID. And that process is of course repeated for Comps 3, 4, 5, and 6. That covers the process for creating custom comp write-ups on the StartDeck platform.